and direct. This is WrestlePod. Welcome to the program. I'm Ian Beaumont. Thank you very much for joining us today. Please do like and subscribe to this channel to get more sort of content just like this. So today's episode, let's talk Impact Wrestling because they have been through somewhat of a bad time over the last few years and they've struggled to survive, but over the years they have made some daft decisions and not merely with bad storylines. Impact Wrestling themselves have actually released a number of wrestlers over the years who they really shouldn't have released. Now, before I get to my top 10 list, some honorable mentions. Doug Williams of the British Invasion used to be known as the Anarchist back in his days in British wrestling. Ron the Truth Killings, a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Consequences Creed, also known as Xavier Woods in WWE. He was a former Tag Team Champion in TNA. Desmond Wolfe, aka Nigel McGuinness, he was with TNA a couple of times over the years, and really they should have held on to him for longer than they did. And speaking of people who they should have held on to for a lot longer than they did, Low Key, who actually left Impact 5 times over the years and was a 5-time X Division champion and a 3-time Tag Team champion as well. So, with those names out of the way, here is my top 10 wrestlers that TNA Impact Wrestling should not have released. Number 10, Magnus, aka Nick Aldis. He is the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He is a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He is a former two-time TNA World Tag Team Champion. He's also a former GFW Global Champion as well, but that's small fry compared to the others. He has been a 4-time World Champion and a 4-time Tag Team Champion, and all but 2 of those reigns have been outside Impact Wrestling, including his current reign as World Champion of the NWA. He should have been kept on by Anthem after working some Impact tapings last year, but apparently their contract lacked financial compensation and creative challenge, at least according to Aldis. He's now working with the NWA and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, where, as I said, he is the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Just had a match not that long ago with James Ellsworth for the title. Yeah, James Ellsworth. That was good booking. If Anthem had been a little smarter, he could have been Impact's World Champion right now. Number 9. Tracy Brooks, a TNA Knockout who never held the Knockouts Championship. Tracy Brooks was known as much for managing as she was for wrestling, having managed 18 different wrestlers in her time in TNA. She was released in 2012 and retired in 2015, but frankly, she should have been with TNA until her retirement, and she should have been TNA Knockouts Champion, but that's another story. Number 8. CM Punk. Okay, so let's clear this up. His departure from TNA wasn't really TNA's fault, but still, they really should have found a way to keep him around. Now, his departure from TNA was all to do with the Rob Feinstein controversy that killed the talent exchange between TNA and Ring of Honor. Punk decided to leave TNA at that point and remain with Ring of Honor, whom he had initially signed with back in 2002. He later signed to TNA later that same year as well. They were working together. So, yeah. Just think, if he'd stayed with TNA, he could have been really influential in elevating them up to the higher echelons rather than WWE's somewhat crazy booking of him. But there you go. Number 7, Marty Scurll. Now, he was one of the competitors on TNA's first season of British Boot Camp. He was shown to be a great wrestler with a great character. Honestly, TNA should have hired Skrull and the Blossom Twins alongside Rockstar Spot. They were all good enough. Skrull now has a great gimmick in The Villain. That was even better than his Party Marty gimmick, which it was still good. I mean, he's been Ring of Honor's World Television Champion, and he's part of New Japan's Bullet Club, which has given him worldwide credibility. But TNA could have had him well before all that, and made him a star, and somehow they didn't go with it. Number 6, the Young Bucks. And speaking of the Bullet Club, how did TNA let these guys get away? And perhaps more importantly, how did they never win any tag team gold in TNA? It boggles my mind that TNA could have signed these guys and had them on the roster for over 18 months, and yet do nothing with them really. Since 2013, they've been tag team champions 13 times. 3 of those reigns are as part of a 6-man tag team championship team. And all of those between Ring of Honor and New Japan. Oh, what could have been. Number 5, Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal was a multi-time champion in TNA, winning the X Division Championship 6 times, and holding the tag team titles with Consequences Creed, who I mentioned earlier. He was in TNA for 6 years, had great gimmicks and great moments, and yet he could have been so much more. He would later be Ring of Honor's World Television Champion and World Heavyweight Champion. He could have been, and perhaps should have been, TNA's World Heavyweight Champion. Number 4, Bobby Roode. As the current WWE United States Champion and former NXT Champion, Bobby Roode has definitely made an impact in WWE. But he was in TNA for so many years and won so many titles, you thought he was going to remain in TNA forever. 2-time World Champion, King of the Mountain Champion, 8-time Tag Team Champion. It could be argued that he'd done everything he could in Impact Wrestling and it was time to move on. But I would argue he could have had a couple more world title reigns and a couple of Impact Grand Championship reigns as well. Number 3, Samoa Joe. Another former NXT champion here and also a multi-time champion in TNA. Samoa Joe was a rare thing in TNA, a Grand Slam champion. The 3rd person in TNA to accomplish that feat, and only one other has achieved that since then. Again, it could be argued that he'd accomplished everything he could in Impact Wrestling, but he'd only been world champion once. He deserved more title reigns than just that one world championship reign. But he has yet to win a main roster championship in WWE, so who knows? But I bet Impact Wrestling right now are a little sad that they don't have him still on the roster. Number 2, Christopher Daniels. The best wrestler TNA never put the world title on. The Fallen Angel was actually released twice by TNA in 2010 and 2014. Both times he went to Ring of Honor, and the second time he returned to ROH, he became their World Heavyweight Champion, something TNA should have done long before that. Why TNA released him twice, I don't know. But he could be the veteran that could be putting over new talent while still being championship material. And number 1, AJ Styles. Come on, who else could it be? The current WWE champion, the champ that runs the camp on SmackDown Live. He was once the face that ran the place in TNA. A 2-time Grand Slam champion and 5-time Triple Crown champion in TNA, Styles won 5 World Championships, 6 Tag Team Championships, 6 X Division championships, and was a 2-time TNA legend / global / television champion as well. He would be released in 2013, and to my mind, that was the biggest mistake TNA ever made. He went on to New Japan, joined the Bullet Club, became a 2-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He's a 2-time WWE Champion, a 2-time WWE United States Champion. The guy is just pure gold. But he was TNA's pure gold. And they decided to let him go. And that was the biggest mistake they ever made. And that's my list. Do you agree with it or disagree? Which other wrestlers do you think TNA should have held on to? Let me know in the comments below. Please like or dislike this video as you see fit, share it on social media with your friends, and subscribe to this channel to get much more great content like this. You can also become a monthly patron at patreon.com/Ian Beaumont Live and Direct, where $10 and up patrons will get their first bonus video before the end of the month. Plus, there are other benefits to becoming a patron. This has been WrestlePod. I'm Ian Beaumont. I'd like to thank you for watching. Till next time, stay sharp, stay tuned.